WHO will define violence as an intentional force against oneself, somebody else, or a group of persons. The part of the definition that I like the most is the fact that violence is intentional. So that is my catch point, that anybody who engage in any form of violence, it is an intentional act, meaning you can avoid it, you probably have planned it, and you could have walked away from it, but you took your time to think through it and then you did it. Another thing that comes strongly to me is the fact that people engage in violence out of control, the need to control. And some other people, it is just because they have been so abused and it becomes a part of their life. Today, I have someone in the house that will be talking about violence and the intricacies of it. We would talk about everything that has to do with violence against men. The question is, do men actually go through violence, or is some kind of noise and some kind of illusion? That is what we're going to talk about. And today I have someone in the house, a friend. I really don't know how to introduce him. I think I'll allow him introduce himself. I want to put myself in the place of caution. So, in order to do that, I would allow this guest of mine to do the introduction himself. His name is Banjo Moses Amoto. But I'll allow him do all of the introduction. Hi, Banjo.
I'll be very, conscious. That's the way I will introduce myself as well. My name is Banjo Amoto Moses, and uh, well, I'm a businessman, a politician as well too, and the host here is a very good friend of mine, and because I'm in Nigeria, while she's somewhere far away from me too. So I'm glad to be part of the show.
Thank you so much. And it's Family Unbox. My name is Lucy. You guys know how we do it here. For those of you who have been a part of this platform, I want to say thank you very much. And for those who are just discovering this platform, you're welcome. I would want to encourage you to like, subscribe, share, and leave me a comment on this platform. It is what we do. We talk about everything and anything that is pressing and concerning. And today we're going to talk about violence. Is violence against men real? Is it some illusion? Is it some noise that people are going to be doing just to get some attention? So, Banjo, what is violence and how can we relate that to violence against men?
Well, in the society today, when they say violence or domestic violence, what everybody think about is maybe some sort of one woman out there that has been mistreated by either the boyfriend or the husband or either ways. But it's far, you know, far away from what people think. Even men too do get, violated sometimes. But oftentimes it's not being discussed. And the reason why it's not being discussed is not far-fetched. It is important to know that violence is a very sensitive, domestic violence is a very, very sensitive topic, especially in Nigeria here today, and should be dealt with carefully. The topic is hardly discussed because in Africa, for some reason, domestic violence against men gender has remained underreported and unspoken.
Hmm.
Why? Because of this notion that men are strong, and for that reason they can always take care of themselves and they can always endure whatever comes to them. But it's never true. Men too do get violated. Statistics has shown all around the world that out of a 1 to 200 men,
Hmm.
there's every possibility that 40 has gone through this challenge. But the women aspect of it is what everybody knows. Nobody is talking about the men, because why? They feel men are strong, and so they can always take care of themselves. In Nigeria, there has been controversial statement on whether violence against men perpetrated by women has been on the rise or not. Are you there?
I'm here, I'm listening.
Whether the table has whether the table has completely turned, endangering the lives of the male gender. While most citizens will agree with me that it has been a tremendous rise over time, especially in Nigeria here, where we have cases of wife killing their husbands, like that, the case of the Sanda, sometime back in Nigeria, where she murdered the husband because they had an argument or something, and she was charged. Why all these things are going on? What people think is that, oh, how did it get to this point? Men have this ego in them. They can hardly come out to say, oh, I'm being violated by my wife or by my lover. Why? Because in Africa, we always look at it that men are strong enough to curtail anything that comes to them. But no, there are some weak men out there, and the fact that they are not reporting it make it look like nothing is happening to men. Because if a woman should cry out today, yes, everybody will say, oh, something is wrong. But between you and I, how would you feel if a man cry out to you now that my wife is beating me? You see him less of a man than you do.
Maybe not.
So,
Maybe not.
okay, well, maybe
It
not.
will be
But
funny
some
though,
people,
but maybe not.
but some people will see it like, how do you mean your boyfriend, your girlfriend or your wife is beating you? But it does happen, you know. So that's
Yeah.
the challenge we have as a man, as a man.
I think that the reason people would think otherwise is because the percentage, the proportion is slim. I think that the reason it is more tilted towards women is because women are the ones who go through it the most. One thought. Another thought, you want to react?
No, no, no. I'm
Okay.
watching
Okay.
you. I'm listening to you. I need to know what you're
Okay,
talking.
another thought would be that, it's a community. So when I am being violated by you, I come out of that violation, that experience. I tell myself, I do not want any other woman to go through that. So I build a squad. I start a squad. Men probably don't do that. Probably it's the reason why it's underreported. So the question is, could it be that the proportion is different? Women go through it the most. And could it be the reason why there's so much noise about women being violated is because we come out and we build a squad and the men don't?
I think I agree with you on that. The proportion, yes, for women, I agree with you on that it could be higher. But let me let you know one thing. Women, there's this tag on them that they are weaker cells, and so they should be treated very well.
Of
That is
course,
what people,
of course.
probably African setting, that's what people think that, oh,
No, it's
women,
everywhere,
oh,
of course. No,
okay,
as a
fine.
matter of fact, in
But,
Africa, they don't
but
treat women.
you agree with me. But
They
you
don't. I
agree
don't.
with me that there are some women that are stronger than men.
It's a minute proportion, like insignificant proportion.
No, even that insignificant proportion can lead to deadly things. If a woman is stronger than and is beating the husband at home,
The
the
husband
husband
should
has
know that the woman is stronger. The husband should know that the woman is stronger and put himself together.
okay violation. When we talk of domestic violence, it goes beyond just being beaten. You know that,
Of
right?
course, of
It
course.
goes beyond just being beaten.
We're coming there,
It
yeah.
has it has several sides to it. And one of the sides is when a woman won't even allow you to enjoy yourself, when a woman won't allow even your family member to visit you at home, or even allow you to go do things that you normally would do. That is domestic violence. And all of this for men, women will cry out. They will probably, go to social media or what have you and say, this is what I mean, which we have seen over time. So many women coming out to say, oh, I've been going through this in my marriage, or my boyfriend or whatsoever have been treating me this way. But it's hard for you to see a man, a grown-up man coming out. One, because of the patriarchy, like every man had to be man enough. You're a man, you should
Yeah,
be a
you
man.
should be man enough to
How would
keep
you feel if you go?
yourself and your family. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now, how would you feel if a man should walk up to any police station around anywhere and complain that my wife is beating me or I've been violated by my, intimate partner? In fact, you will look at the person and like, are you okay? A woman, and you are coming to report. Can't you deal with it? That's the first thing. So men, the cases like this are not reported. Unlike out of out of 1,000 cases of domestic violence among women or from against women, maybe 900 is being reported. But out of 1,000 of men, probably you hardly see 40 being reported. So that makes it look like, oh, it's only women that is affected. No, men are equally affected. And theirs is terrible because if they can't report, it boils, I mean, it becomes, how do I put this? They start feeling like they don't belong to the society, or maybe the society has forgotten about them, or they go into, you know, getting drunk and using drugs and all of that in order to just take that, aspect of their life away from them. Imagine a husband will not go home after work because he's probably afraid what he's going to meet at home. So he will use that time to go somewhere to the pub or anywhere and get himself drunk before going home. Now, look at it this way. He's not reporting any of these cases, but you can be rest assured that it will get to a red flag at some point where something terrible will happen. He might get drunk and probably just go home and something terrible will happen. Why? Because the society is not taking violence, domestic violence against men seriously, which I believe that the same rights that the law has against domestic violence against women, it should be applied to that of a man too, of the men too.
I strongly agree. I strongly agree with you. But again, I have seen situation where I think men are being protected by the system. A woman comes in and reports that she's been violated, and they either tell her, is he not your husband? I mean, he should you go and submit. Is I think violence is a function of wanting to gain control and more than necessary control. So why would anybody? At what point do we get to the part where we begin to exact violence against ourselves, be it a man against a woman or a woman against a man? Why do we do that, and how can we stop it?
Okay, fine. I think all these things are always there at the beginning of any relationship,
Hmm.
but oftentimes we don't take cognizance of it. We don't, we are so engulfed with the best moment we're having that we forget
Hmm.
to realize that this could be a red flag in future. You
Hmm.
understand? Okay,
Hmm.
we're talking of a relationship where the woman is always in control. The woman want to have everything done. It has to be, if not her way, it's not. That means it's never going to happen. Now,
Hmm.
when you look at all of this, it's a red flag.
Hmm.
But it takes a longer time for such thing to result into domestic violence.
Hmm.
Because when you start up that way, at some point you're like, okay, don't worry, or maybe you even report, you said, don't worry, it's just because you're just fresh in the relationship. Everything
Mm-hmm.
will
Mm-hmm.
normalize,
Normalize.
and that alone has led so many into deep into it that they cannot even come out again. Coming
Hmm.
out now makes them look like they are weak.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there are certain steps, there are certain things you need to note when you're getting into a relationship, which will always be there. It will always be there because one way or another, it will pop up one day and you're like, this, if you don't tackle this one, if you go deeper into this relationship, it might cost you a lot. So that aspect, I think young people who are going into relationship now should take note of. If you are going into any relationship, you can tell if that relationship is going to be abused either ways. I'm not talking of just the men alone now. I'm talking of the women too. You can't go into a relationship as a woman and your husband, you're not even married, you're not in her house, I mean in his house, but already he's slapping you or mistreating you and all of that. But you stick into the relationship because I love this guy, or I love this lady, or I can't move on from here. So things like this need to be taken care of. And again, as for the way it can be tackled, there are several ways it can be tackled.
Mm-hmm.
I think the government should put a very serious law against domestic violation, and that law should cut across both male and female.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now they are the female. I can tell you so many NGOs that comes around saying, "Oh, domestic against women," but I've hardly seen anyone talking about domestic against men.
Maybe you should
Which
start one, or maybe some men should start one, because it would take a man to drive a violence campaign, right? Well, I'm not saying women
yes,
cannot drive it, but I think
but I have seen NGO that maybe that's domiciled by male and yet they fight for domestic
women.
violence against women, right?
Yeah,
So what I
because um 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 Banjo,
yes.
maybe it is because some of these men saw their mothers being violated,
Mhm.
because again, most of these campaigns, they stem from what people have experienced. So some of these men who run a non-for-profit or who tilt towards non-for-profit that are towards women, they probably have seen their sisters, their
Mhm.
mothers, or someone in their life being in violent situations. So they just tend to tilt towards it. Don't you think so?
Well, sometimes yes, but I have seen cases where you can't find that in any of the family, but yet the man or the woman had a trait of such thing. Now, when we talk about family intervention in a relationship, in domestic violence, sometimes, like you said, you rightfully said the other time, in this part of the world, in Africa, they always believe, oh, whatever you are seeing in your is your family. You whatever stay there, remain there. The remain there has led so many people to untimely death.
Yeah.
Why? Because the family said no. This is how we do. Nobody leave the husband's house or nobody divorce the wife in our family. So you must remain there.
Mm.
So family intervention at the same time, you could see, okay, probably maybe the child grows up to see the father and the mother always having such issues and all of that. And it becomes a norm that, oh, I could treat my wife or I could treat my husband this way.
Hmm.
But the world is going scientific now. Everything, nobody, the archaic way of dealing with issues have been brushed aside somehow, where we tend to people take laws into their hands now. That's why you see that sometimes people just take laws into their hands without thinking of any family intervention because it's definitely not going to do you any good in the end. They will ask you to remain there, and when something happened, that is when just take a close look at this case of Sanda and Biliamin, yeah, in Abuja that happened sometime in 2016.
Mhm.
The lady stabbed the husband while he was asleep. And prior to that, the guy had received several death threats from the lady, but he wasn't telling anybody. Why? Because we are living in a
A tracker society.
yeah, a society where if you
There's
say
male
anything,
dominance. Mm.
yeah, male dominance. And when you say something, they look at you like you are less of a man if you come out to the public and say my wife or my lover is treating me this way.
But
So that
in this situation you're referring to,
mm,
it's sad, it's unfortunate. Nobody should do that. I'm an advocate, and I think to an extent that I'm an advocate that when there's an abuse, pick your bag and walk away. I zero tolerance. Me is zero tolerance. If you cannot walk around it, pick your bag. There is no right. Nobody has the audacity to take another life. Could it be that this particular girl has been pushed? Because whatever will make her do what she did, which is totally unacceptable, would have been that she has been pushed to the wall. And the only way to bounce back, the only way out of it was to do what she did, which again was the wrongest of ways.
yes, I agree with you on that she may at one point or the other have been pushed to the wall,
She's
and the
been
only
abused severely.
self-defense, yes, only self-defense she has is to probably end the whole thing that way. Now look at it this way: if we have a law
Mm-hmm.
that prohibits all of this,
Mm-hmm.
the woman will get to that extent. If we have maybe how do I put it, a scenario where you can report, or a situation where you can report such domestic violence, and the government will intervene and see that everybody is either you stay or you don't stay, or you'll be given that restraining order not to do. I think it will go a long way. So the government, to apart from the family, the government to have a huge role to play in this.
You're
We
in
must set a
politics.
law where,
You are in politics.
yes, I'm in politics, but
And
things like this, mhm,
mhm.
we are in Africa. Let me remind you of one thing. We're in Africa where, you said it the other time yourself, where every woman is, I mean, in a home is like a second citizen. Let me put it that way. In some homes, a woman cannot talk where the husband is talking. Sometimes, I mean, I can be in the kitchen and help my wife to cook. I can wash dishes and all of that. But in some culture in Africa here, so when things like this are not common, and when you want to bring this, we are in a multiversatile environment where there are several cultures, beliefs, and all of that. So it will take a long time for things like this to be passed into law. You know,
I think the law is there. I think that the law is there. The execution of the law is what is missing. I think the
yes,
law
the
is there. And
execution,
then
the law is actually there.
when the execution is not there, the only
Mhm.
the only the only thing that people do is to take the law into their hands. When government is not doing what they should do, then the people become the government. Well,
Yeah, that I said that earlier, that it will get to a time where every individual will like, okay, since I can't get help from anywhere, maybe let me face it, like, how do I, an eye for an eye, and in such situation there must be a casualty. There will be a casualty, and that is when it will be cried out that, oh, this is domestic violence against man or against women. But for me, if I will say something, women gain more attention from the government, even from the law, than men. And reason,
because the society generally, the world is actually, I tell people it's God's world, but
mhm,
it was defined along the line like a patriarchal society. Although we're beginning to find our equality and beginning to find our place, but there's still that push. It's not an easy journey. You have to push, you have to travel as a woman. I'm not just talking violence in the home, even in the workplace. There are violence, right?
they are violent. Yes,
Have you
even on both sides,
so
against men and against women.
is violence in the workplace against men a mirage or is a reality?
It's a reality. It's a reality. It's something I myself has been through a couple of times.
Share it.
Yes. Well, it's not easy to speak
Banjo,
out when it
you're
comes to
big.
things.
You're over 6 foot. Who will ever dare?
Yes.
Who
When we talk
will
about
ever
when we
dare?
talk about yeah, but when we talk about violence against men in workplaces, at home, even in business, it's not something that you can easily just come out and say something. Yes, it is good to speak up, and receive help as soon as possible, but oftentimes, because of that thing that you are a man, imagine walking into an office and just seeing you as a man and you are good looking, somebody tends to just attack you. You don't know where she's coming from. It could be she had problems, she has issues at home,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the only place she can go, that's violence on my own part. Or a woman hit your car and she still come up to say, pushing you, jack your shirt and say, you are the one, that you are the cause of this. But you cannot touch. That is still violence. So there are several aspects of violence that we are not being, I mean, is not being spoken about, right? We need to create more awareness on this issue, because uh the on the female aspect of it, you see that the NGOs and what have you have been talking more about all over the world. They've been saying things, and it's reducing, but the table is turning.
Yeah.
The table is turning. Let's be frank about this. These days, you see more of domestic violence against men than that of women, because they feel, oh, okay, I can do anything and get away with it. Because the society will always say, oh, I'm a woman, I can't do this to this man, or the man would have provoked me to some level before something would have been. So yes, it's not a mirage, it's reality. Domestic violence can happen to any either sex, from whatever, from man to woman, from woman to man. But my concern basically, or why we are doing this, is because that of a man is under-recorded. Because why? People are not speaking up. If out of 20 women, 19 or 18 will come out and probably speak up about what they've been going through, but you hardly see a man. Instead, he would rather go to a pub or to somewhere and get himself drunk, or probably just having, and all of these are as a result of domestic violence from the opposite sex, which they cannot voice out because the society has made it look like if they should come up to say, oh, I'm being violated, that means they are weakling. So to me, what I think they should create law that protects men who suffer abuse too. Not just the law. There's law there, but if you check very well, if you look into the law very well, you will know that it's not being pronounced for men. Men are not being taken care of in that law. The law only is applicable when it has to do with the opposite sex. Because I haven't seen anyone that will say, oh, okay, except these cases of these two ladies who killed their husband in Nigeria. But aside that, there are men who go through this every day, both at work, at home, and even in business places. So I
Now,
think it's not a mirage, it's a reality.
it's a reality. So how do we help men who are going through this? How do they, what can be done to help them talk? Should they just go ahead and talk and talk? Because if we shush, it will keep on, and then the male community is suffering. We what can the family do? How can parents raise their children, their boys, to be stronger so they can talk? Because I know that I we grew up in an environment where you hear men don't cry, and I say no, men cry.
Mhm.
Jesus wept. If that was the
Yes,
only
the Bible tells.
example that to show that men cries, then it is a worthy example. Because I've been in places where a boy is trying to cry and they say, shush, you can't cry. You're a man, you're a boy.
Mhm. Mhm.
What can we do at the family front? What can we do in the religious front? What can we do politically? You said that's enough. They're not doing sufficiently. Socially, what can we do to create
Okay.
a formidable force where men can find expression?
Okay. Now, there is a saying that if you don't tell me what you're going through, I can't help you. Right? So the first thing first is that men should speak up so that they can receive help as soon as possible. This thing don't just start at once. It's a build up. There's a build up towards domestic violence. It
No,
didn't
we're
just
talking
you
of violence generally. It's not domestic. We're talking of violence
okay, violence. Well,
generally.
speak up, then create more awareness of the issue. That's on the social part of it. Let us create more awareness of the issue. Let it be out there and let everybody knows that, oh, there are issues like this that can happen and this can lead to this. You know, it helps the society to know, or the people to understand that, okay, actually things like this can happen in the near future. So when they see it coming, they know how to tackle it. And again, on the government side, I think they should create law that will protect, a strong law, not just law by reporting to police. In the end, we go to court. Let there be a punishment for things like this. And if I may say, I would think maybe there should be what do you call it, a rehabilitation home, because someone who has been violated domestically can equally do the same to another person. Are you there?
Yeah, it becomes spiral.
Okay, fine. Because he's not seeing anything wrong with that. Yes, it's wrong because somebody did it to him or her. So now he or she will in turn do it to some other person. Like the case I told you about, me getting into an office and somebody just lash at me like she's known me from anywhere. But I could understand that probably she must have gotten something that the only thing she wants to do is to pour it back on another person. But an innocent person this time around who doesn't know what you are going through. So I think the government should put down a law, a very strong one that can, curtail this menace, because it's getting is increasing day by day. You know.
So
Then
how can we raise stronger boys? How can we raise our boys, giving them the platform to speak up? Because this is not going to end now, except we start helping ourselves now.
it's it's just the same way. I mean, it's just like turning the table around. The same way the women were bold enough to come out and say, "I've been going through this," and some NGOs or some host people who have gone through things like this. Talk to them, make them see reasons why they should be able to speak up on whatever they are going through. Because if we don't teach our children, our boys, to start speaking up on things that they've seen, like I do advise parents, I said, look, you can actually call your son, ask him about his girlfriend, the attitude of the lady, things like this. And some people say, how can I ask my son? I said, no, because you're trying to teach him morals. You're trying to make him understand that, look, you could be going through some things that you would think is love, but it might not be love in the end. So I think we should advise our children. We should create a platform where people can actually come and speak up freely. But I love the way the Westerners do theirs. There will be a circle of people and everybody will talk, just like the same way they do it when we go for um, rehabilitation, where people will sit and talk about their problems and everybody applaud, share the pains and everything with them. I think we should start that kind of program. It will help people coming up. Let's put it before them that, look, there's nothing bad in you coming to, speak up about violence against you from your loved ones. It is good because it will only provide solution, and the solution that will make you not to go through such thing again ever in life. So I think we should try and organize a symposium as well. I don't know how to put it, where people can actually come gathered and say one or two things they've been through. You could learn from one person and you could actually take advices from another too.
In a society where um,
So
employment
that's my
is
thought.
in a society where employment is slim, and the chances of growing a business is equally slim, how do you talk up about violence at workplace? How should a man, a boy, a male gender talk about violence in their workplace, considering the fact that they could lose the chance of unemployment, and getting another one might be a
Problem.
camel going through the eye of a needle?
Yeah. Okay. In that aspect, you see, there's nothing we can do. You just need to speak up.
Hmm.
That's where the government has to come in, or an NGO that can take the case up on behalf of the boy. So his job and whatever will be protected in the end. Because if the boy or the male child alone want to handle this, it might cost him his job. So in cases like this, there should be an NGO or a government law that protects the male child from being that will protect his right. Yes, he is his job, and he's being violated. So if he speaks up, probably there will be help from NGO or from the government side that will protect his job. Because the first thing they would think about, what if I say this and probably I lose my job? So if there is no law, that a very strong one at that, that can protect people who speak up about domestic violence, people, male child particularly, will continue to, to how do I put it, to bottle it, because they don't feel safe when they report such cases, even on the female side too. Because your boss can be molesting you in the office, and you can't come out to share it. You can't come out to report it because you are afraid. Yes, getting another job might be very tough, but you know the traumatic aspect of you bottling everything inside of you, because someday, somehow, you will burst. So I think the government has a lot to do on this too, by putting up that law that will protect the right of every citizen, male or female, in their
Something
workplaces.
happened. Something happened days ago in Nigeria, and I'm asking myself. I've been asking myself. I should be. I want to believe you're aware of it because you're in the system. You're in politics. You should understand this. Where a former political leader will pick a boy and take to London for a transplant, falsify the child's age until the doctor in the UK would refuse doing the transplant and handed over the situation to the government in London, and it became a public issue. That one is violence. Two, this is not just a lawyer, he was in government, so he understands the system. This is not just someone who was in government, he is a lawyer that should understand rights. This is not just someone who was in government and is a lawyer, this is a parent. It bleeds my heart to see that someone who has that vast of experience, knowledge, and privilege of parenthood would do that to another person. That is violence. And what is or what could the Nigerian government do regarding all of this?
I'm glad you're bringing up this topic, because I've been shying away from discussing anything that has to do with that particular topic, that particular incident. And I have my reasons for doing that. We are living
Okay.
in a society where people will say good morning to you, and it's actually evening,
Hmm.
and they want you to believe that this is morning. Now, why I said I have my reservation on this incident is the fact that the informations we're gathering so far, even the government of the day, the government in Nigeria is gathering so far, there's a lot of discrepancies. There's a lot of lies. The same boy that we're talking about, that we think is underage. Now, it may shock you that they found out that the boy's younger sister is above 18.
Hmm.
The same boy who said he was lured to travel out, in his visa, it stated there for private medical purposes. In the letter that was written to the embassy for them to issue visa to the boy, it was stated clearly there that for a transplant. Now, I want to believe that it's a consensual thing, it's an agreement. I don't know that aspect, I may be wrong, but I want to believe that the boy is old enough to make decisions on his own. But I'm not saying that what the legislator or the former Senate president did was right, not informing the parents. But let us look critically, and let's allow the law to handle this, because it's more dicey than we think it is. A lot of informations are coming up from left, right, and center. We don't know which one to. Like I said, we are living in an environment where people don't say the right things, and I'll put it that way. When people you don't even believe could lie to you will lie to you. So for that fact, I think we should allow the Lord to take care of this, because we on the outside, we don't actually know the truth about this until proven guilty. The boy might be right, he might be underage, he might be lying, but from every indication, from what I have seen so far, even on his, they went as far as checking his BVN, the BVN that you use in registering, opening an account, and all of that. It was clearly written there. It was shown that this boy is above even 21. He was 22.
Banjo, a
Yes.
22-year-old boy.
Mhm.
I'm just wrapping my mind. I'm trying to cast myself back at 21, 22, even 25.
Yes.
Women, we tend to mature at some point quickly than men, and then from nowhere, the men spring up and they're over us.
Yes. Sure.
Wouldn't it have been appropriate for this family in concern, whose child is needing the transplant, to have contacted the parents of the boy? Because again, remember,
Absolutely.
hunger is predominance,
Yes.
poverty is predominance. This kid probably does not have a job. They may have told him all sorts. We'll sort you out. We'll take you to the UK. We'll probably establish you there. We'll give you 5 million or whatever million. I don't know. I'm just thinking out because it couldn't have been cheap. Even his parents, if they are so impoverished, they probably would take it. There are a lot of videos I see out there that breaks my heart. How people rent and harvest kidneys and parts of people and give them stipend. Would it have been appropriate to pick a 25-year-old boy, man, and tell the person, I will do this without consulting with the family of this person?
If you heard me clearly in the beginning, I made you understand that it's an error, a huge one on the part
It's
of
not
the.
just an error, it's wrong.
It's wrong. Yes, it's
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 not
it's
an
wrong. Let's
error.
put it wrong. It is wrong for him not to have informed the parents of the child
It's it's
that,
it's
oh, this
wrong.
is what. But when you look at the Western life, at 18, a child is allowed to make a decision on his own.
Not that kind of decision.
18.
Not that kind of decision, Banjo. Not that kind.
I know what I'm saying. A child is
You know I
allowed to
know
make.
too.
No, I know. But look at it this way. What happened to the boy? Why didn't he report to his parents? It's societal, it's moral decadence, right? Because at that age, I don't think there's anything anybody will ask me to do without, consulting my parents, or taking how do I put it, or taking permission from my parents that, oh, I need to do this, or someone asked me to do this. Is it right? Is it wrong?
You
But the
understand how
society
that
where
age
we're
can
living,
be. You understand how that age can be.
exactly,
Assuming, I don't know what the
exactly.
catch was. Even if the catch was you're traveling abroad, it's enough cash. The age can be, look, I don't even want my parents to know, but what would an adult do? What would you and I were adults? What would an adult do? We can't
That's
put
that's
this on
why
the child
that's why I'm
alone.
saying that the honorable, I mean, the distinguished senator himself, I don't think he's a novice to this, to
That is what
know
I'm saying.
that you should have informed the parent. But in another case, I want to strongly believe that there could be some sort of arrangement that we are not privy to.
Okay.
Some sort of arrangement, probably from the uncle or from the aunt. The
Hmm.
boy cannot just, he won't see the distinguished senator for any reason. So somebody must have. That's when we should dig deeper to see how did the honorable senator, I mean, distinguished senator, get in contact with this young man. Somebody must have connected them, and I strongly believe that whoever connected both would have informed the other of something that we are not privy to. Yes, it is wrong, but from the information I gathered so far from my friends in the UK, they made me understand one part that I don't know whether I should say it here or I should not say it here. That the boy was misguided by some people when they found out that the transplant wasn't a match. It wasn't the doctor that actually brought the case out. They were in court yesterday. Everything was spelled out. It wasn't the doctor just said it's not a match. Now, according to what I heard, that according, I'm quoting whom I heard it from, that the boy was found by the police, and when they took him into custody, he told them this, that, and that. His partner, he's underage. But I want to ask one question: a boy who could use bank, a boy who could be on Facebook, on social media, will be able to read whatever is written on his uh what they call passport or visa, the visa page. It was boldly stated there for private medical purposes. Now, another thing that comes for me is the fact that probably something went wrong somewhere when they said, "Oh, he's not a match." I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, it's time for you to go back home. We don't know the promises they made to the boy before he accepted to come for this. Now, when they say it's time to go, he has been there for maybe 3 months. He has seen life. So he decided to go abscond. And now he's exposing all the wrongs that has been committed by both sides, not allowing the parents to know, and even what we don't even know. Because as for me, I believe that they should have made all this arrangement here, checking to see. I mean, we have hospitals here, good hospitals, and he's capable. He has the money to spend on there. He would have checked if he's a match before even traveling out. Why was he so much in a hurry to travel out with a boy, not knowing if he's a match or not? So I think a lot of things went wrong here, which, like I said, we should wait for law to, bring it on board, and we will know who is guilty and who is not guilty. But as for me, Ekweremadu is guilty of not, he's a parent, of not informing the parent of the boy that, look, this is what your child, or I want your child to do for me. Yes, anybody can decide, I want to help this. I've donated blood several times, not even knowing who the blood is going to. But I remember being in the National Hospital in Nigeria here when they said, oh, they need O positive, they need the blood. And I said, I'm O positive. And the doctor just turned and looked at me and said, am I with them? I said, no, I'm not. Am I ready? And they gave me a form to fill to show that I voluntarily did this. So all of these things, the moment we start running away from the necessary things that need to be done, or we decide not to cross the T's and dot the I, there will always be problem. There will always be problem, and the problem will now make us look stupid, like it's going right now, because the blame is no more on the boy; it's on
It
the
can't be on the
distinguished
boy. He's
senator.
a kid. He's a
Yeah,
kid, and there are
yeah,
different parts.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Now the
Different
blame
parts.
is on him. Why didn't you inform the parent?
That's
But
huge.
in the aspect of harvesting organ, no, I don't think we should use it. It's too weighty, right? It's too weighty to be used on a man who had an understanding with the boy before traveling. They didn't bundle the boy out. It was written on his
This
visa, and
boy
he's
is a
learned.
kid. This boy is trying to find his bearing. For me, it's violence. Look, there's psychological
I
violence. Look,
I,
it's
I understand.
manipulation, it's control. What is violence? Violence is some form of control. And people use subtle violence as much as people use forceful violence. People use subtle control, and those that are not smart, they come with violence. Everything ends in control. So it's dangling a carrot, and the guy needs the carrot. He's hungry. He doesn't care, right? I think.
Okay, that still boils down to moral decadence.
I
I mean,
agree.
at 21, you could
He
tell
should
what
be
is
under
wrong and
his
what is right.
parents. Yeah,
And at 21, you should be able to involve your parent in every decision you are making.
I
And
agree.
that's where the teenage youth come in. Fine. But these days, where we are in a society where young people want to grow very fast overnight.
Too fast than
They
necessary.
want to become an adult. Yeah. They want to become an adult within a space of 2 years because they are above 18. And the law that, stated that at 18 you are already an adult is getting into their head these days. And once they are 18, they feel they can make any decision. They can do anything they want to do because they are already a man. So I still believe that, yes, the distinguished nature has so many questions to answer. But likewise, the boy, I think he has a lot of questions too to answer, which I know the law over there in UK will not permit you lying on another person, even though he's going to be faulted. The boy too will be faulted because he probably fortify his age, saying he's 15 years old when he's above 15 years old.
There's so much happening out there, and it's really, really, it is really painful. As we wrap up this conversation, that has really, it has humbled me. The whole line of conversation just humbles me. There's a part
Thank
of
you.
this conversation that I will not let slide. It's so interesting. I like talking about it. Like when I think about it, I
Okay.
feel energized. Is the fact
Bring
that
it on.
I will. Is the fact that now I will hit on domestic violence now in another way, because violence is psychological, mental, and sexual as well as physical.
Mhm.
How does a man handle now? Is sexual denial violence?
Of course it is.
Excusez-moi. Hold
Yes,
on. Why are you so quick at
yes.
answering that?
Because it's never been
You
talked
so
about.
is sexual denial from a partner to the husband violence? And if it is violence, why is it violence and how can it be handled?
Okay, now when we talk of sexual or sex in marriage, it's a consensual thing.
Oh, good.
Both parties have to agree that we must have this, and that's why you see people getting married. Because when you're married to your partner, yeah,
Is that the
when
reason
you're
why
married
people
to
get
your partner,
married?
no, if you don't, even if you don't get married, you have an intimate relationship with someone, right?
Mhm.
Now, in an intimate relationship, we are bound to satisfy each other, and that is why we believe that okay, it's just you and I and no other person,
Mhm.
right? Now, when it comes to sexual denial, a lot can go wrong in that process.
Hmm.
You deny him of sex, you get angry if he goes out and have one. That is violence.
Really? Okay. His oh no. Internet issues. I can't hear you.
Okay, it's
You
a
were
connection
frozen.
issue.
You were frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said that is
Okay. Okay.
violence. Hmm.
Okay, that's a violence, right? Because if he goes out and have this, it will result to something much more worse than what you just deny him of. So I think basically I cannot tell too for a woman because not all the time they actually wanted this.
Hmm.
It's a feelings that comes and both male and female, will jump at it and probably make the most of it, right? There are times when it comes in such a way that it's all on one side and the other side might not be feeling at that moment, might not be feeling what you want or might not be interested in what you wanted at that particular time. So I think to resolve this, it must be an understanding between both parties because you can't force. If you force her,
I've,
that's
I've
a
I've
no.
heard I've heard forcing. As a matter of fact,
Mm.
rape happens in marriages, and
Yes,
that is violence. I've heard
yes.
that. So
Okay,
when you say you can't
okay.
force her, I've seen. Mhm.
You can't force her, and you can't force him too.
No, but
Because
it
even
happens. It
even
happens.
domestic violence we're talking about, rape is inclusive.
Mhm.
Yeah, when a wife rape a man, you forcefully have that thing. Yeah, it is
Excuse me.
true.
How can a
Okay,
woman?
now
How
you
can a
know.
wife?
There you go. There you go. You frowned at
There'll
it
be
when I
no
said it. Right?
erection. Men are who they are. They will not
No,
have erection. You guys can be. You guys. I'm
no,
trying
no.
to choose my words here. Men, if a man does not want to do it, oh my
Mm.
goodness, he will be there like a log of wood. But if a
It's not
woman does
true.
not want to do it, the man will just say, "Okay, just be there.
It's
Just be there."
it's not true. It's not true. No
Really?
matter how, yes, no matter how you don't want to do it. This is somebody who knows your part, who knows every part of your body. There are places he will touch, she will touch you that will make you be in the mood. Not being in the mood now,
You
but
have
that
an
will make
erection.
you erection, yes, and make that thing happen.
Really?
Yeah, it does. But within you, you don't want to. But she forcefully made that happen. So that's rape to men. Okay, how do you think rape occur when it comes to male and female? Like we say
I know
in
the
the
men rape the female. It's easy for the men to rape the female, but it's not as easy for the female to rape the men because you
it,
guys
hap-
will not
it
have an
happens.
erection if you don't want to.
Okay, cases
Most
of rape
times, the
happen.
reason guys have an erection is because they want to. So before you begin to manipulate their body, the erection is there. A man who does not want to, he
That
will
is when
just walk
when
away.
the intention that is when the intention is there. But I can tell you, like the example I just cited for you now. I mean, I'm a man, and I'm telling you this that there are cases where you don't want to do it, but somebody touched you, keep touching you, it makes that happen. We have seen cases, even in Nigeria here, where a woman is charged for raping a man to death, to death. That is it.
Death.
Yes. Yes, a group of ladies like that were charged for raping a guy to death. So how would you make, I mean, what would you say about that? Would you say, oh, the man actually wanted to? No. The fact is that it's a very sensitive issue
Yeah.
that it takes someone who an adult to discuss this part of uh, life, because you can't say, oh, you don't want your man to this, or your man wanted this, you don't want to, and when he forcefully gain his way, it becomes a rape. This vice versa, right? So I think there should be a good understanding between the two parties, because if she said no today, you can actually just, okay, fine, maybe she's not in the mood today. So there should be an understanding between both sides to know when to say yes for this, and when she said no, or when he says no, it's no. Okay, a man can say no because mentally he's not there to do anything, but a woman would think saying no simply means that he's had it outside, and that is why he's saying no. Now,
Mm-hmm.
a woman can say no,
Common thoughts.
and yes, common thought. A woman can say no, and the husband will like, maybe he's seeing someone else, and that is why he's saying no. Or maybe he just want to punish me, and that's why I will gain my way by force, and that is where the rape comes. So
Mm-hmm.
there should be an understanding. I mean, it's a line that we cannot. It's a line that cannot be broken, right?
Hmm.
It is natural for male and female to do this, but doing it in a proper way, it's I think it's more advisable, because anything can go wrong. The line can be broken in the process of one trying to force the other to do something. Now you broke the line, you cross the line, it becomes a rape. What's meant for pleasure will turn out to be violence.
You're
You know.
right. You're right. Wow. Wow. It's such an extensive conversation. Like violence it trickles here and there. It can be
Yeah.
physical, it can be psychological,
Mental,
it can be mental,
psychological.
it can be sexual, it can be
Mhm.
societal. And that's why I love the definition that the World Health Organization gave. It says it is an intentional force against an individual. So I can be violent against myself, against
Yes.
somebody else. Yeah, we didn't talk
Mhm.
about self violence, but it's a
Mhm.
quick to mention that people can be violent against themselves. I can be violent against you. I can be violent
Mhm.
against a group of persons. And
Mhm.
violence, we have equally seen that it can span between, a family, a society, a business, a
Mhm.
workplace. It just trickles everywhere. For me, the reason for this conversation, which I want to say thank you so much for having this conversation, is the fact that we
Mhm.
need to call ourselves to this knowing. Many times people don't even know what they are doing is wrong. Sometimes they don't know, and
Mhm.
other times they do know. For those who don't know, it's a good to know that these things we are doing is wrong. And for those who know, it's another good to know that we need to stop the things we're doing. It doesn't work. Subtle or forceful manipulation and controlling in the negative is not what we should do to one another. It's life, right? Just like you say, we live in a society and in a world where I could tell you good morning and it's actually good night, you know.
Actually,
So again, that is relative because where you live, if you have to tell me good whatever is, it's in reverse to where I live. So that is why I tell people good day, and good day suffices because it's a day.
yeah,
It's a day.
yeah.
Honestly, Banjo, I want to say thank you. I don't know if there's a comment you want to put out there before we call it a wrap. It's been beautiful talking with you, and I'll just stay in the line of caution.
Okay. Well, well, not caution per se, but I am just of the opinion that violence against men should be taken seriously in the society as well, because violence against men can lead to so many other things that we are even yet to talk about. It can lead to murder. It can lead to inflicting injury on some other people, innocent people.
The
You
children,
understand? So
the children. We see men hurting the children because they're having issues from the mothers. Oh, this is network again. I can't hear you. Network is holding you back. I didn't hear you. Network is
okay,
holding you back.
okay. I said in conclusion for me. Okay, well, what I'm saying is that in conclusion for me, while some of the silence surrounding the issue of violence against women is continuously being broken, it is quite saddening that effective measures of justice are still not understood or applied in the way that can support or favor male victims too. And therefore, the risk that male, victims will remain invisible and left out of response to domestic violence is still very significant and remains so until more work is done to make more right. I mean, to make their rights and concerns receive special attention, just like the women too.
I agree absolutely. You can't be faulted. I agree absolutely, and I want to say a very big thank you for coming around for gracing this talk with me. I am very grateful. I don't know what more to say. Grateful is what I'm going to say. To everyone who is watching, this is Banjo Moses Amoto. He's a politician, he's a businessman. He's a friend we've known the longest, and it's been beautiful. It's
Yes,
been. What did you say?
I said yes. What more can I say?
Um, it is. I'm going to take you out of my studio for now. Don't mess my program up. Yeah, thank you for being around. It's been Family Unboxed, and we've been talking violence against men with a very good friend of mine, and I hope that we've been able to add value to you. Again, my name is Lucy. Please like and subscribe on this channel. Drop me your comments. Let's hear what is happening out there and let's see how we can make the world a better place. Until I come your way again with another exciting discussion, this is Lucy. Stay blessed and keep yourself in a good state of mind. Peace.